Lille versus Borussia Dortmund ends in a 1-1 stalemate. Not the first time in this edition of the Champions League has Lille made a huge impression in a match. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Into the Net FC. My name is AlexAlKazzaz, and I'm also known as the Bear of Texas. And yes, you heard me right, because if you recall, in the group stage, if I'm correct, which I know I am in this case, Lille pulled off a huge win at home against Real Madrid. And then they pulled off that huge win on the road against Atletico Madrid. And if I'm correct, they held Juventus to a 1-1 draw. As I said in the intro, Lille has had a history, particularly in this tournament, of holding off larger and tougher opponents. Lille is, quite frankly, not to be messed with. They are not to be underestimated. Just ask Real Madrid, just ask Atletico Madrid, and Juventus. And now you can say, just ask Borussia Dortmund. And because this game was in Dortmund, Lille has a huge advantage going into the second leg, which will be on their home turf. I quite frankly don't have much to say about this game in particular. Now, this game was entertaining, it was hard fought, and ended in a stalemate. Well, I can honestly say there was one question I have from this particular game, and there was one point where it seemed as if Jonathan David was fouled. Well, unfortunately, I don't know if I should say unfortunately, but I should say apparently the referee didn't seem that was the case. Well, from the looks of it, in one particular play, especially in a closer replay, it really did look as though Jonathan David was fouled. But I'm not entirely sure. Now, keep in mind, Lille had a couple of opportunities, but what's interesting about this game is that both teams had one shot on target and they both made them count. But my question right now is regarding the foul on Jonathan David. Was it a penalty? Why? Why not? So if you're listening on Spotify or on YouTube, let me know in the comments. Was Jonathan David fouled in that play? Why or why not? And of course, I want to know your thoughts on this game and who is going to win the second leg. Does Lille actually have a chance of knocking out Borussia Dortmund? Why or why not? Well, whatever you have to say about this game, about this one or the second leg, and of course, the supposed foul on Jonathan David, well, please have at it, ladies and gentlemen. I am very, very curious. Well, if Lille were to pull it off, well, that would certainly be a historic moment, not only for the club, but quite frankly for French football. Lille, unfortunately, is coming off a brutal loss to Paris Saint-Germain. Lille, unfortunately, things have not been going too well for them because they've dropped out of the top four in Ligue 1. As far as Ligue 1 is concerned, Paris Saint-Germain is honestly, at this point, there's truly no way that they're going to lose. Paris Saint-Germain pretty much has Ligue 1 all wrapped up. And I will go through those standings in a second. But Lille suffered a 4-1 loss to Paris Saint-Germain in their recent Ligue 1 match. And before that, they were on a 2-game winning streak, picking up a home win over Monaco, and then before that, a 2-0 win on the road against Rennes. So, and unfortunately, not long ago, about a month or so ago, they were knocked out of the French Cup after losing to Dunkirk. That was very, very regrettable. So, Lille, unfortunately, as far as I'm concerned, well, as far as the standings go, they're in 5th place in Ligue 1, and they're actually 2 points shy of Monaco, who's in 4th. So Lille still has a chance of finishing in the top 4. Right now, the top 4 in the French Ligue 1, Paris Saint-Germain, Marseille, Nice, and AS Monaco. Paris Saint-Germain is at 62 points, and Marseille, who's in 2nd place, is at 49 points. Paris Saint-Germain has yet to actually lose a match in Ligue 1. And right now it looks as though they might actually have a chance of making it through without suffering a loss. And as far as I'm concerned, I might have just jinxed them. But Paris Saint-Germain has actually been doing a good job in Ligue 1. So whether you like them or not, well, at this point, you can't really say that they just easily won Ligue 1. Because at times, Monaco was actually in 1st place. I think at one point, Marseille was actually in 1st place. So at times, PSG lost their top spot, but they got it back. So you can't hold that against Paris Saint-Germain. Paris Saint-Germain just simply proved a point. So that kind of talks about Lille. Now, Borussia Dortmund is actually in 10th place in the German Bundesliga. Yeah, Dortmund's not doing good at all. I mean, we talk about Lille being in a bad position in their particular league, in the French Ligue. Borussia Dortmund is in a horrible spot in the German Bundesliga. Right now, if the season were to end tomorrow, Borussia Dortmund would not qualify for the Champions League. They wouldn't even qualify for the Europa League. I mean, they wouldn't even qualify for the Europa Conference League qualifiers as well. So Borussia Dortmund would not be competing in European football the following season. Borussia Dortmund is in a horrible position. Now, the top four for the German Bundesliga, Bayern Munich's in first place with a 9-point lead over Bayer Leverkusen, who's in second place. Third place, you have Eintracht Frankfurt. And in fourth place, you have Mainz. So Mönchengladbach is also in 8th place. You have Stuttgart in 9th and Dortmund in 10th. And Union Berlin in 14th. So it's not surprising you see the three of the biggest clubs already obviously in the top. I mean, of course, Bayern Munich is on top. I mean, what else would you expect? But then again, Bayern Munich has had some shortcomings. RB Leipzig's in 6th, which means that if the season ended tomorrow, they would actually basically qualify for a Europa Conference League qualifying spot. So they would go to the qualifiers for the Europa Conference League with RB Leipzig. But in Borussia Dortmund's case, they would actually not be competing in European football. So because I had not much to say about the game between Dortmund and Lille, I'm glad that there were some talking points about their respective leagues. Lille being in 5th place in the French Ligue 1, and Borussia Dortmund being in 10th place in the German Bundesliga. So Lille is in a better position. I mean, Lille could still actually qualify for European football, but Lille would love nothing more than to finish in the top 4. So it's good that even though Paris Saint-Germain has Ligue 1 secured, it's actually still good to know and still good to see and good to have that there is some competition in French football. So right now the competition doesn't involve first place, but it involves a spot in the top 4. Well, then again, keep in mind, when it comes to Ligue 1, 4th place does not put you in the Champions League. 4th place actually puts you in the Champions League qualifiers. So right now, again, in Lille's case, if the season ended tomorrow, they would actually qualify for the Europa League group stage. And Lyon, who's in 6th, they would actually qualify for the qualifiers of the Europa Conference League. So the competition right now is basically the top 3. Now Monaco is 3 points behind Nice, and Lille is actually 5 points behind Nice. So anything could still happen, but there's still some competition as far as the top 3 spots are concerned. Marseille actually is not guaranteed of finishing second, even though they're 3 points clear of Nice, and they're 6 points clear of 4th place Monaco. So basically, not to mess it up, PSG has pretty much secured the Ligue 1, but the competition in Ligue 1 remains for the other 2 spots in the top 3 and 4th and 5th and 6th place. So, and basically, because at this point, I mean, Strasbourg could actually finish in the top 6. So it's good to see that there's still some competition in Ligue 1, even if it's not all about securing a spot in the Champions League next season. Well, a big story from this one, Ethan Mbappe making his first Champions League start in God knows how long. I mean, Ethan Mbappe has been hurt since September of last year. So is this actually his first Champions League start for Lille? I mean, I'm not entirely sure where Ethan Mbappe has been. I mean, again, I know he's been because I know where he's been because I just mentioned that he's injured. You'll have to forgive me. It's been an absolute long day. But I guess I got so confused because I'm not sure exactly when was the last time he actually made a start in the Champions League. He did actually play in the Champions League actually earlier this season in the group stage, but I'm not sure exactly who it was against. And I'm not sure if he was actually a starter. So, but again, he got injured in September of last year and he missed numerous games. Of course, again, he also missed that match against Real Madrid against his brother Kylian Mbappe. So Ethan Mbappe, I can only hope that he can stay healthy, but he did actually play his first Champions League game against Slavia Prague. Now this was in the playoff round. So as far as actually getting a start in the Champions League, I'm not entirely sure. He started out in that particular game, but as far as the actual competition, I'm not entirely sure, and I'm actually trying to find out. Because it wasn't until I actually looked at the highlights before I did this episode that I saw that Ethan Mbappe played. Now, Ethan Mbappe does have experience in the Champions League. Of course, this goes back to when he was playing for Paris Saint-Germain. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm actually trying to see exactly in the Champions League where he's played this season. Okay. Well, he did actually play, in January, okay. He did actually play in the group stage game against Liverpool. But he was off the bench. So he missed a significant amount of time. So he did actually play 2 games in January, but he did play against Feyenoord. Okay. So I'm actually seeing it. Okay, so he did come off the bench against Liverpool, but from what I understand, he played a majority of the game against Feyenoord and and he got the start against Borussia Dortmund. Now, as far as Ligue 1 goes, he missed a significant amount of time. He actually because now I'm seeing it. He got injured in September, but actually did play in October and November. Okay, so I'm glad that I have these notes right here from the transfer market. So he missed several games, but he didn't miss as much time as I thought. I mean, I guess I just haven't been paying attention to Lille's starting lineup. So maybe Ethan Mbappe has just been spending most of the time on the bench. Okay, no, you know what? No, okay, now I'm seeing it. So I just got it wrong. Okay, so he did miss a significant amount of time. He did, in fact, miss a significant amount of time. So he missed some time in September with abductor pain, and he did, I think, play again. He played a game against Le Havre. Then against Toulouse, he suffered I don't know if actually he suffered that during the game, but Ethan Mbappe missed time from October through January with a torn thigh muscle. Okay, so I'm glad I was actually able to clarify because I thought I was just looking at something completely wrong. So obviously I apologize for that screw up. So I thought at first, because I said that he didn't miss as much time as I thought, but I just didn't look to the side where it says that he was out with an injury, and I noticed that it was highlighted in red, and I wasn't sure why. So Ethan Mbappe did miss a significant amount of time with a torn thigh muscle. Now, I'm not sure exactly. This number right here, I think it's showing how much time he actually played. Oh yeah, it's actually minutes played. So he made a return in January against Strasbourg where he played for 4 minutes. And he played for 26 minutes in a game February 1st. He played for 26 minutes against Saint-Etienne. And in February 8th against Le Havre, he played for 45 minutes. So now in that game against Stade Rennes, he was not in the squad. Against Monaco, he was on the bench. So, okay. So I'm glad I'm actually clarifying everything. I really am. So he actually played a significant amount of time against Paris Saint-Germain. He played for 45 minutes against Paris Saint-Germain in that 4-1 loss. In Lille's 4-1 loss against Paris Saint-Germain, he played for 45 minutes. So clearly they got to take it easy with Mbappe because we need Ethan Mbappe to be as healthy as we can because Ethan Mbappe, who turned 18 years old last December, Ethan Mbappe has a lot of potential, and I want to see Ethan Mbappe succeed just like his brother. But Ethan Mbappe played for 71 minutes against Borussia Dortmund and actually got the start. So in the group stage against Liverpool, he was on the bench, and actually he did not play in that game. So he did not play against Liverpool, but he did play in that group stage game against Feyenoord, and he played for 7 minutes. So I was not looking at it properly at one point early on, when I was kind of talking about it because I said that he played against Liverpool. He was on the bench, but he never played. But of course, the Champions League games that he missed the game against Sporting CP. He missed the game against Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, and Juventus because of the torn thigh muscle, which is very, very unfortunate for Ethan Mbappe. Because if he had played against Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid and Juventus, it would have been huge. Even if he came off the bench and played for a few minutes, it still would have been huge. But man, he missed a significant amount of time because of a torn thigh muscle, and he missed actually 3 games because of fitness issues, which could be anything. But the bottom line is, Ethan Mbappe missed a lot of time because of injuries. So I knew that he had because it said that he had been out by September, but I thought I just saw something different with Transfer Market. But Transfer Market actually said something different. So, man. So it was great to see Ethan Mbappe get the start in this one. It really was. And but going back to Jonathan David, he actually provided the assist in the game tying goal by Haraldson, which was fantastic. Adeyemi opened the game for Borussia Dortmund in a fantastic goal. So both teams scored in spectacular fashions. Borussia Dortmund at one point looked as though they had a 2-0 lead, but it was actually taken away because of offside. But Borussia Dortmund probably would have had opportunities after that, but didn't take advantage. Believe it or not, Lille actually had longer ball possession. So Lille really actually has a chance of knocking out Borussia Dortmund in the second leg. Quite frankly, I hope it happens. I was very disappointed that Lucas Chevalier did not actually have any saves in this one. Again, both teams had one shot on target, and both of them made that shot count. And both teams, combined for 5 counterattacks, 3 by Dortmund and 2 by Lille. As far as the saves go, neither goalie made a save, but both teams made a significant amount of clearances. 25 clearances by Dortmund and 23 by Lille, 6 interceptions by Lille, and 4 by Borussia Dortmund. So Lille is actually a whole lot better than they look. Again, Lille beat Real Madrid at home in the Champions League group stage. They beat Atletico Madrid on the road, and they held Juventus to a 1-1 draw. So, again, Lille has made a little bit of history in this particular edition of the Champions League of standing up to the bigger and stronger teams. So, you know what? Honestly, I think Lille has a legitimate chance of getting the job done against Dortmund at home. And if they do, then what's going to be one hell of a story. One hell of a story. Again, not much to say about this particular game, so I'm trying to put up as much as I can. It seems to me that the biggest talking point in this one was Ethan Mbappe. Now, Chevalier, of course, was at the goalie position, and, again, unfortunately, did not make any saves. Borussia Dortmund really utilized a unique formation. 4 defenders, 2 midfielders, 3 forwards, and a lone striker. Of course, Lille utilizes a unique formation of their own in order to combat the effects. But what's interesting is that both teams utilize the same formation. Both teams utilize the same formation. Jonathan David, of course, deployed as Lille's sole number 9 striker. And behind him, you had Ethan Mbappe, Macao, and Haraldson, who, of course, provided the equalizer. Who scored the equalizer, rather. And David provided the assist. Andre was the captain. And, of course, in the midfield, you had Boadi as well. In the backfield, you had Meunier, Diakite, Ribeiro, and Ismaili. And, of course, Chevalier in the goalie position. For Dortmund, right behind their sole striker, Girassi, they had Gittins, Julian Brandt, and Adeyemi behind him. In the midfield, you had Gross and Marcel Sabitzer. And in the backfield, you had Svensson, Schlottenbeck, Kahn, who was the captain, I hope I said his name correctly, and Ryerson, of course, Kobel in the goalie position. So both teams, kind of seem to, basically be at the top of its game. And Ethan Mbappe really getting a significant amount of playing time, being substituted out in the 71st minute. I'm glad to see that Ethan Mbappe got a significant amount of time to play because Mbappe deserves a chance. Ethan Mbappe really deserves a chance. So if Ethan Mbappe was actually a huge part of why Lille would actually eliminate Dortmund, it would certainly be huge. I hope Ethan Mbappe gets the start in the second leg against Borussia Dortmund. I really do. Now, speaking of Lille, Lille's upcoming matches, before the second leg, which is going to be March 12th, Lille is going to play Montpellier this Saturday. So if Ethan Mbappe can get the start in that one and actually score a goal or provide an assist, it would certainly be huge. If Ethan Mbappe can stay healthy and actually play out the rest of Ligue 1 and actually provide a couple of goals, even provide a couple of assists, well, it would certainly be huge. And because he missed too much time this season, I fear that if he misses more time, it's certainly going to impact his future. But he's 18 years old. Ethan Mbappe has already achieved so much. I can't wait to see what the future has in store for him. So, now as far as Borussia Dortmund goes, upcoming matches, well, now of course they have round 2, which is again going to be March 12th. They have one Bundesliga match against Augsburg, which is going to be at home. So Borussia Dortmund's definitely going to have to try to finish it out. Now, Borussia Dortmund is actually going to be competing in the FIFA Club World Cup, and they'll play Fluminense in their opening match. And I didn't actually talk about the FIFA Club World Cup in my recap of the Real Madrid-Atletico Madrid Leg 1 match, but Borussia Dortmund is competing in the FIFA Club World Cup, which actually starts in June, which I cannot wait for. But So Borussia Dortmund, if they were to basically fail to qualify for next year's Champions League, well, I mean, at that point, I would say, well, it's unfortunate, but at that point, they got to get ready to compete for the FIFA Club World Cup. Now, the FIFA Club World Cup will start a month after their final Bundesliga match. As far as Lille is concerned, they are not going to be competing in the FIFA Club World Cup. So, right now, May 18th, Lille's final Ligue 1 match is going to be against Reims. So, Lille right now has to basically focus on playing good enough in order to secure a spot in at least the Europa League. They would love to actually compete in the Champions League in back-to-back years. But Lille has to play Montpellier this Saturday, and then they play Nantes on the 15th, and then Lens, and then they have a game against Lyon, my hometown club, and they even have an exciting game against Marseille May 4th. So if Lille can actually fight through and actually somehow, some way secure a spot in the Champions League, like if they actually somehow got a spot, like finished in third place, because at this point I'm convinced that Marseille might actually finish in second. But if Lille actually finished in second place in Ligue 1, it would actually be a huge and fantastic achievement for the club. So, as far as I'm concerned, Lille has to actually battle it out in their remaining games in Ligue 1 because it would not be good for them to go from having a possible deep run in the Champions League to failing to qualify for next season's edition. Lille has huge potential of having a deep run in the Champions League. If Lille can actually pull off the upset and beat Dortmund, it would certainly be huge, and I would be absolutely excited to talk about it here on this program. So as I sit here talking about these particular games, I'm going to take a look at the upcoming games of the Champions League as far as the round of 16 is concerned. Arsenal versus PSV, nothing to say about it other than the fact that Arsenal just looked really, really good. And keep in mind, this is the PSV team that knocked out Juventus, so this has to be more humiliating for Juventus because the team that knocked them out just got destroyed 7-1 by Arsenal. And keep in mind, this game was not at Emirates Stadium in London, England. So, yeah, Arsenal's definitely going to finish business at Emirates Stadium. Aston Villa got the win, the 3-1 over Club Brugge. Well, I think what's interesting in this one is, as far as I'm concerned, well, Marcus Rashford actually got the start. Ollie Watkins got the start as well. So, Marcus Rashford competing in the Champions League, which is something Manchester United's not doing. So it's good to see Marcus Rashford actually compete in the Champions League. So, and because Aston Villa got this win on the road, Aston Villa is very likely going to get the job done at home. So it's good to see that Marcus Rashford has a chance of actually having a deep run in the Champions League, because that's obviously something that's impossible for a team like Manchester United. I mean, it's basically impossible for Manchester United to qualify for the Champions League. So that was day one of the first leg of the round of 16. We still got Feyenoord versus Inter Milan, Bayern Munich versus Bayer Leverkusen, Benfica versus Barcelona, and the game that I'm most excited about, Paris Saint-Germain versus Liverpool. If we could see Benfica versus Lille in the quarterfinals of the Champions League, I mean, I've said this before in the episodes, of course, when I was talking about the round of 16, Benfica versus Lille would be absolutely phenomenal, but Benfica would have to pull off the freaking impossible and eliminate Barcelona. If Benfica were to eliminate Barcelona, Benfica would obviously be the favorite over Lille. But you know what? As far as I'm concerned, Barcelona might be just too damn good. But anyway, well, you never say never. Never say never. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, Into the Net FC can be found on Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and YouTube. If you would please be so kind, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. That way, I know for sure that you're not going to miss out on any exciting upcoming content. Thank you all very, very much. And one more thing, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcast, please be so kind and please leave a 5-star review. They are greatly appreciated and they help the show grow. Thank you all again. Y'all have a good one and God bless.